Hey guys, it's me Chandra and welcome back to my channel. I was not going to record today, but I felt compelled to because I kind of have like a complaint. I am frustrated. I am frustrated and I am sad and I want to talk about it today. Okay, because I think it's important that we talk about just how many families are being failed despite seeking out lactation help. Okay, it's not fair to them, it's not fair to their babies, and quite frankly, it's pissing me off. It not only makes our profession look bad as a whole when people are told things that are incorrect or are left without the support that they deserve, or see a lactation professional and the professional misses very obvious issues. Okay, that's bad enough. But what I feel is worse than that, than the fact that our profession looks bad, is that there are so many babies out there who are struggling, who are stressed during feeds, who are at risk for really bad long-term issues despite their families seeking out help. I think in order for it to all make sense, I kind of have to explain why. So I'm not going to waste any of your time in the intro. If you want to hear me complain about things, then stay tuned. Otherwise, you can jump over to any of my other videos. That's not me ranting. All right, let's just roll the intro. Okay, so I became a lactation professional because I strongly believe in breastfeeding. I am so passionate about helping families reach their breastfeeding goals that I wanted to just do that as a job. Like, who wouldn't, right? But as I've gotten more knowledgeable in lactation, I have gotten more skilled at identifying babies who are really struggling either at bottle feeding or breastfeeding. It's really hard to not get sad. And the reason being is because babies who have feeding difficulties oftentimes really struggle. And that struggling translates to a poor quality of life doing something that they need to do, okay? I don't want to put it into perspective, okay? Because we oftentimes focus on like maternal comfort, and it's really important. I'm not saying that it's not, but think about a parent who is breastfeeding, and every time they nurse, which is upwards of 8 to 10 times a day for really early, or it doesn't matter how often, but every time they nurse, they dread nursing because every single time they nurse, there is pain, damage, God forbid there's any cracking or bleeding or any major discomfort. It's easy to be in the mindset of like, oh, that sucks. Like, I don't want that to be a situation for you. What we often don't think about, however, is that there's another human being involved in that. And when babies have difficulties feeding, it puts stress on so many different systems. It's not a pleasurable experience for them, but they have to do it because they need the food. And it doesn't matter, typically, if they're bottle fed or breastfed, babies with feeding difficulties struggle across the board. Now, this isn't every baby who's having, minor latch or positioning issues. But because so many people don't know what to look for, stress cues, jaw movements, oral function, things like that, there are a lot of babies out there who are struggling and parents are just not knowing. When you think about that and you think about how stressful it is for babies, it makes you angry, or at least it makes me angry to know that there's families out there who are seeking help from lactation professionals and are being told things that are not resolving the issues, and babies are continuing to suffer through a task that they have to do to survive. In case I need to make myself clear, this is not a rant for parents or at parents. It's not their job to know every breastfeeding issue or every sign that there's a problem. That is why they seek help from lactation professionals. But somewhere or somehow, like, I know that this exists because I hear about it all the time. Families are seeing professionals and not giving the level of care and the level of support that they need. And I know this because, one, the people who often continue to seek help and that I see have already sought help with a lactation professional before and haven't had their needs met. So that's one. Two, I hear what people explain that their lactation professional said. And so like I can hear where there's a failure. I'm not trying to sound high and mighty. I'm not trying to sound like I'm above any lactation professional that you're going to see, because that is not true. I am still growing in my knowledge. I know that there are so many professionals out there that there's a lot of professionals out there that have so much more knowledge than I do. Okay. And I'm not here to like blow smoke up anybody's ass and act like I just know everything. I'm constantly learning. And when I don't know the answer to something, I seek it out. Okay. I wanted to just put that out there to start. I'm not trying to bash anybody or anything like that, but we really need to have an honest discussion about the quality of lactation help that so many of you guys are getting. Because honestly, you guys are being failed. Like, it's a disservice to all of you guys to not discuss this. There are parents out there who are seeking help and being failed. And that as a result, breastfeeding relationships are ending. Babies are being put under undue stress. There are families out there who are like genuinely trying to seek answers and not getting the answers that they deserve. And it's pissing me off. So, to calm down, what kind of was a catalyst to having this discussion is because earlier today I saw a baby. It was not a client, it was on the internet. But I saw a baby today that had so many issues. The baby was cute and perfect. It wasn't the baby, but they were really struggling. It was a parent who posted on a local Facebook group who presented, who showed a video of their baby bottle feeding. And it was so apparent to me that that baby was having a very hard time coping. They were compensating well, but they were having a really hard time managing. Okay. And now the parent did everything that they were supposed to do. They sought lactation help and they were looking for support and they were questioning. So like the parent, I got no problem with the parent. The parent just was looking for guidance and for some unfortunate reason wasn't able to get the quality of care that she deserved up to this point, right? So I thought that I would jump in and one, it was a presentation on the bottle that I had not seen before. And so I was genuinely intrigued. But two, it was very clear to me that the baby was struggling and I wanted to help make sure that I could give them some tools that might make the feeding experience more comfortable for mom and also more pleasurable for baby, right? Because at this point in time, from what was reported earlier today, that was not the case for either one, okay? So I share the video with my colleagues and I get great support and resources and we brainstorm and I report back to this parent and I give a care plan, not based on a formal assessment because I didn't do one, but because the baby was struggling so much, I felt compelled to reach out, okay? Now, in the initial post, this parent said that they had already seen a lactation professional and that lactation professional told her that all she needs is a little bit of time and that her nipples would toughen up, okay? And that pisses me off because for one, if any lactation professional, doctor, friend, whoever is presenting in a position of authority tells you that all you need to do is wait it out and your nipples need to toughen up, then you need to walk out of that room immediately and seek help from somebody who's actually going to really try to investigate the underlying cause of the issues of your problems, because toughening up nipples doesn't exist, okay? Problems don't just magically get better with time, right? There are cases where things will improve and with the proper support will eventually not be an issue, and that is for sure. But just this whole idea of, oh, well, you're going to suffer alone and all you have to do is just wait it out and things are going to get better, is a false belief that just does not exist. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the baby. It's not fair to the parent to be without the support that they need. So anyways, long story short, that kind of prompted me to think about all of the people who are being failed, all of the people who have sought my care out, who have already been seeing lactation professionals and have not been finding the answers, that had not been given the answers that would put them on the right track, okay? And it makes me upset. So I kind of wanted to put this video out there. I don't actually know where I'm going with it, so I apologize in advance if this kind of seems rambling, but I just felt motivated to get on camera and just talk about it. So I wanted to kind of, before I get to my next point, I wanted to just share with you all what a thorough evaluation looks like, okay? So I wanted to share with you guys a few pages of my assessment. Every professional is going to have their own assessment form or their own style of assessment. This assessment style works for me. But the key thing that you should be looking for when you're seeking lactation help is that there is an assessment, that there is a thorough assessment, that if you're seeking help, that professional watches a breastfeed, or a bottle feed, or whatever, a session, that they evaluate the total baby, because breastfeeding is a whole body activity, okay? So just focusing on the mouth and saying, well, the latch looks good, is not a complete investigation. And to say that a latch looks good, even though you're having pain, and saying, oh, well, we don't have the answer to that, it's just everything looks fine, bye, again, is not a thorough evaluation. So I kind of just wanted to quickly, and I don't know how much you can see, but I'll kind of go over. So here is the front page of my breastfeeding assessment form. The first thing that I look over is I do a general assessment of the baby. I want to see what behaviors are, like what behaviors baby does, what states they're in. I do a general respiration count, okay? We check the color, we check the tone, and we check symmetry, okay? Any one of these things can give us some answers to what's going on. For example, if baby is perfectly pink and fine, but then starts turning blue around the lips during a nursing session, then that can give us obviously indications of what's going on. But I have to be able to see what they are before and take a mental note of that, and also observe them through a full feed and after. I can kind of see how things play together. So I do a general assessment. Obviously, babies don't always work on command, so there's times where you don't get to see everything. I went to plenty of consultations where baby is just sleeping the whole time I'm there, doesn't wake up, or won't nurse really well, or nurses perfectly. That is common, to nurse perfectly while I'm there. And then, my clients are like, this is not normal. We kind of have to go off of what they're explaining. But when I can, I take a general assessment. So that's first and foremost. Then I do a visual observation. This goes deeper than just the general assessment of the main parts that are needed. So we got lips, cheeks, tongue, palate, nasal passages. What I'm looking for is making sure that what we're seeing is normal. And if there's any abnormalities that might be contributing to latching issues, nursing issues, inability to maintain organization or coordination during a feed, that they're identified. That is a complete step-by-step process. Now, it doesn't take very long to do it, but it's kind of like you see it in the resting state, you see it during nursing, you see it after, and you can get a general assessment. And each time that we go through checklist, right, it provides a little bit more information. And I will do this every single time, right? And it also gives you kind of like a benchmark. If a client meets with me and they're having these issues on appointment 1, and I see them again on the 4th time and things are improving after their therapies and things like that, then I know that I can kind of follow their progress. I do a thorough oral assessment visually. This is not the same thing as a function assessment, which I can do as well based on what I see in the oral assessment, okay? We wanna make sure that all of baby's reflexes are working, right? So I do a reflex assessment. I monitor parent and baby bonding, how receptive or perceptive a parent is to the baby's cues. And then I actually watch a breastfeeding, right? I watch a nursing session or a bottle feeding, and I see what I see from there, okay? Now this is done on my half after somebody already reaches out to me and outlines their medical history, their symptoms, and any other things that might be pertinent. First thing I get is their medical history. Then I do an assessment, and this is just for baby. This does nothing. I don't even have right now printed out anything that relates to the parent, right? And this isn't an actual like functional oral assessment. This is just observation. Based on what I see on the symptoms, on the assessment, and any other specific functional assessment that takes place, only then can I possibly get a good picture of what's going on. Any step that I'm missing, any one of these, I don't have a clear picture, okay? And some people might be like, oh, well, not every breastfeeding situation is going to require such in-depth assessment, okay? And okay, sure, I'm going to tailor what I'm looking for and what assessments I do based on the symptoms that are presenting, right? So if it's mainly a maternal complaint, I'm still gonna observe a feed to see if any of the baby's behavior at the breast is contributing to pain. But generally speaking, I may not necessarily need to go through every single thing. But let me throw this back at you. Most times when people are seeking help, it's because their initial attempts at resolving their problems on their own has not been resolved. And parents are smart, man. They are resourceful, they are knowledgeable, they want and demand answers. And so if they're coming to see me and they have not been able to resolve their issues, then they deserve to have a thorough assessment every single time, right? I can come up with an idea of what I think is wrong, and I'm supposed to test that idea. I need to have evidence to back up that idea. And at the end of every evaluation, I should be able to explain to you why I think what I think. This is a big pet peeve, and the one thing that I wanted to get at. I posted on my personal Facebook page a couple weeks ago about this. If you go in and you see somebody who tells you that your suspected reason for why your baby is struggling at breastfeeding is incorrect. Let's say ties, for example. You see your pediatrician and they tell you that that an oral, like a lip or tongue tie is not the reason why you are having breastfeeding difficulties. Then they should be able to tell you what they think is the problem. Telling you that it's not something is not enough. If they have a hypothesis, there should be a reason why they think that it's not tied and what is causing it. Without that, then they're just throwing stuff out there for absolutely no reason, and you're not getting the information that you need. It's okay to say, I don't think that ties are causing this problem, but this is what I do see, and this is how this impacts breastfeeding, and this would explain this symptom, and this symptom. Therefore, I think we should do X, Y, and Z. And then if that X, Y, and Z doesn't work, so we'll meet back up and we'll talk in a couple of days, tomorrow, whatever. And if that does not work, then we'll go back to the drawing board. I don't claim to have all the answers. There are things that I don't know about. There are answers that I need to seek. There are times where it takes resolving one issue to clearly identify the next issue, which is one of the primary reasons I've set my business up the way I have, with trying to make follow-up visits so affordable so that people can get the continuity of care that they need. Because one visit is it's unlikely to resolve all breastfeeding challenges. And what we observe in one feed only gives us a picture of what's going on in that moment. And so we need to follow across some time to be able to identify all that's going on. And I care so much about you guys that I've made it a foundation of my business to do that. Yes, is it tedious? Yes. Could I easily just jump to conclusions and tell you guys this is what you should do? Yes, but I would be doing you guys a disservice. I would be unethical, in my opinion. I would not be doing my due diligence to make sure that everybody and every baby is getting the care that they deserve. I'm just so frustrated. This isn't an attack on anybody in particular. I have not personally met anybody who that I know of that does this, but I know that they exist because families are reaching out to me, and it's very apparent that people are being failed. Anyways, so that's my rant. It's frustrating to me. It makes me angry. My heart breaks. It genuinely makes me sad. I want to be able to be a resource for anybody around the world, mainly in the US, but I want to be a resource for anybody that needs help. And so I don't mean to be, this isn't like a plug for my business or anything like that. I mean, I know I'm talking about it, but like, this isn't my goal, is to be like, whatever. But it's important, I feel like, for everybody to understand what motivated me to set my business up the way I did. So I do online visits in addition to in-person visits, and I have set my online visits up to be affordable, right? So sometimes cost is prohibitive, and I get it. People deserve to be paid for their time, and I'm in no means trying to undercut people who are higher certified than I am, or sees people on in a one-on-one basis. But there are people out there who can't afford to continuously see lactation consultants at the price that they're charging. I value in-person visits. I personally charge over $100 and something for in-person visits, but I was thinking about all those people who that's out of their budget. And not everybody's gonna have free resources in their community. And not everybody is going to have the ability to go to the consults, even if they are, and not every lactation consultant travels. So I kept all of that in mind, and I said, how can I fill the need to anybody in the United States? And so I started a predominantly online lactation business, right? I have no problem seeing somebody in person. It's not an issue. I live in Monterey, California. If you're local to me and you want to see me, let's connect. And I also knew that continuity of care, like people seeing a lactation professional for how many times that they needed to resolve a problem, oftentimes is cost prohibitive. A lot of people can't afford to see a lactation professional at $125, $200 a pop, even if it's reimbursed by insurance. I'm trying to meet a need. I have a pay-as-you-go option for my online visits, and I have a membership. It allows you guys to know that you guys will have continual access to a lactation professional throughout your breastfeeding journey. But in addition to that, it allows me, through my membership program, to charge less money per visit. So you're getting consults at a less expensive price. And I wanted that because, like I said, I want to make sure you guys have continual access, that you are working with people for the amount of time that you need to, that you have more money in your pocket for the additional therapies that are oftentimes necessary. And because I don't have to leave my home, it saves me not having to charge travel time. It saves me not having to charge the additional cost of gas or anything like that. So I really believe in this business model. And yes, it doesn't come without its own challenges. It does require us to communicate more so that you guys can explain to me exactly what you're seeing, so that I have an accurate picture. And there are things that you just can't see online, right? So it's not a solution for every single problem. But it serves a purpose for those who have common issues, who need continual support. At the end of the day, I'm nothing without, my goal is to help all of you guys. That's my goal. Anyways, that's where I wanted to say. I didn't have this video planned out, so I apologize in advance if it was all over the place. If you're one of those people who are very knowledgeable in breastfeeding and doing a due diligence to be as thorough in your evaluation as possible, and you maintain follow-up and all of those things, and I am not talking to you. Let me know what you guys think. Have you had an experience where you felt like the quality of care from your lactation professional wasn't up to par with what you were expecting? Or do you have a great lactation professional that you really feel like listened to you and did a thorough evaluation that you want to like cheer on and be like, look, my lactation consultant was great? Either way, I would love to hear your comments. Please do let me know down in the comments below. Oh, and also you can follow me on Facebook here. If you want to learn more about my business, my pricing, my philosophies, anything like that, I'll link that down below so that you guys can check that out, because I really think it's important for you to at least know that somebody's out there, there's somebody out there, regardless if you have a local lactation professional in your community that you can trust. That's for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.